The San Francisco Fair was my real, I guess you might call it my trampoline net that gave me the spring up to Hollywood. I was doing everything. I started a Pacific Coast radio show. I met a man named John Goodell in Hollywood. We both were thinking of the same idea with different titles. As a psychology minor in college, I wanted to do a show called Meet Yourself, where I get people out of the audience, put them through a stunt, and have a psychologist tell them what kind of a person he is, an introvert, an extrovert, an ambivert, or whatever else. John Goodell had a program where he had a psychology professor do the same thing, and he called it People Are Funny. And so we said, we ought to put our stuff together. So we became the writers, the producers, the owners of a show that ran on NBC for 19 years through radio and then television. John and I became partners, and I moved to Hollywood. And I don't think I'll tell this story, but the advertising agency that was going to buy it for Brown Williamson Tobacco Company, Russell Seeds, wanted to have a better-known national name. So they took an announcer that they had used on some of their commercials and said, he must be the master of ceremonies with art. So we accepted him because we were so anxious to get on the air. It was just a summer show, a replacement for Sergeant Quirt and Captain Flag with Victor McClellan, and the war was starting, and and they didn't want military people being made fun of, so they bought us as a replacement. To make a long story short, this rather clever and devious and manipulative and scheming announcer told them after a couple of weeks that he couldn't work with me. I was impossible to work with, and that they'd have to pick either him or me. And John Goodell had quit his job as radio man for an advertising agency. And so I was so disappointed, I moved back to San Francisco. And I kept writing for the show that this guy had taken right out from under me. And meanwhile, we appealed it to AFRA, American Federation of Radio Artists. Now I'm back doing local shows in San Francisco, writing for my own show that I own, that somebody else is doing. Can you imagine the mixed emotions?
Of course.
I'm providing him the best ideas I can think of to make him look good. The ruling came down that he was wrong. I came back, I took over the show, and AFRA, God bless them, saved the day for me. That's quite a story, but it shows you what you have to go through. And you can imagine going back to San Francisco as a young guy who had been the big star of San Francisco. I did 10, 12, 14 shows a week up there. I was making $100,000 a year in San Francisco in 1942. It was big money, big money. It'd be like $1 million today.
Sure.
And so I go back, and I know a lot of them said, well, smarty-ass Art Linkletter went down to Hollywood to be a big star. Didn't make it, did he? Because you know the old saying in show business, it's not enough that you succeed, your friends have to fail.